any details, and I'm going to the Mayo Clinic. There will be a mini documentary actually coming up in July about it. Realize you get to follow me and hopefully have some footage of the surgery. But long story short, they're gonna go in and place some titanium rods through my chest. I'll explain it more later. But I appreciate the prayers and well wishes. I'm actually looking forward to surgery. The recovery sucks. I know it's going to be painful, but I'm more so looking forward to the improvements afterward. And this is something that I've lived with for my entire life, but has kind of gotten worse. So yeah, just want to let you know that. And I know usually we take the entire month of July. Well, the show is dead. We typically all at Light on Powder take like 2 weeks off, and there's 2 weeks of preparation, of taping some sketches, of having some breakout meetings. We have to update equipment, and we do that sometimes for a couple weeks in December too. But actually this July, there'll be quite a bit of content. So since I didn't know how long I would be gone for the surgery, I did double and triple taping some days. But the 3rd is that first Monday of August, and there should be somewhere between like four and six pieces of content being uploaded. So I just wanted you guys to know, keep your notifications on. One of them is an ASH Wednesday roundtable with Nick DiPaolo and Dave Landau. One of them is an ASH Wednesday with Jason Whitlock. One of them is a mini documentary regarding the surgery. So actually follow me along kind of the trail of Mayo Clinic. And I can't remember, we were actually scheduled to tape some Change My Minds this week, and then we just got rained out. So when we come back, I know we'll be taping a few of those, so we'll have some in rapid succession. Males shouldn't compete in women's sports. And I very carefully use the term male in women's sports. So yeah, anyway, stay tuned. We also may just upload some content that was Mug Club exclusive here, so you guys kind of see what you missed in the last couple of months. But I just wanted to say thank you. I've seen some of the comments. I've gotten some of the, sometimes people misuse the term letters, actual letters. Some of you are a marvel. You send actual letters. Don't send them to the right place. But sometimes it gets me. And sometimes when Dave Landau is on the road, people give him stuff to give to me. Just so you know, if it's consumable or perishable, well, I appreciate the gesture. I won't partake. Poison and all that. So I've seen the well wishes. I really do appreciate it. And if you want to leave well wishes or anything, you can below. Don't feel obligated. Look, this is just one of those things where I explained to you a little bit what it is. A lot of people say, "Why are you smoking?" My heart is actually great, but my heart doesn't work great. The reason my heart doesn't work great is, long story short, because of a connective tissue disorder I have, and my chest is caving in on my heart. So I've got I'm at a little more than half of the blood flow that you guys have, ventricular output from my heart. So it's a mechanical fix, and I don't know, maybe I'll feel like Lance Armstrong, like I'm on EPO after this, because I don't know what it's like to go through life with full blood flow. To me, I'm looking forward to it, not looking forward to the pain. Lance Armstrong, by the way, with the 3 balls, not the one. So yeah, it's overall a positive thing, and honestly, I probably needed a little bit of rest. It comes in the form of having my chest cracked open, but since I won't be gone for as long as I anticipated, you'll still have content in July. You won't go a week without something, and really appreciate it if you guys want to support what we do. Of course, you can always join Mug Club at lighthousecrowder.com/mugclub, $69 for veterans, military, active military, or students, and that's what pays for everything we do here. We're not monetized on YouTube, and we keep sponsorships limited, and health insurance now for the company. All that is, we're not funded by we're funded by Mugs, which is representative of actual viewers like you, as opposed to, say, foreign caliphate. So we got that going for us, which is nice. I'll see you soon. Can you hear her? Hold on, before I leave here. Can you hear her snoring? I don't know if that registers.
Alright, motherfuckers, it's Forrest Winnie, goddammit. Motherfucking 420. Now I can Pakistans and Pakistan with a Pakistans.
Pillow. Why do we make our pillow the shape of a cube? I'll tell you.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
How I got introduced to you, I'd heard about Reservoir Dogs, but the first time I saw was Pulp Fiction. And I saw Pulp Fiction with this girl that I was dating when I first moved to Los Angeles. And I remember being in Mann's Chinese Theater watching this.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like this crazy change in my life.
That was in the first few weeks of it opening. Yeah, because that's where it opened.
Yeah. crazy change in my life, moving to Los Angeles, and then seeing this film. And then I remember very clearly, like at the end of the film, like even in the middle of the film, going, this is the craziest fucking movie I've ever seen in my life. And this scene, it symbolized to me like the world was changing, like everything was changing. It was so wild and so crazy. It was a film it was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. All the different timelines, how you interwove everything together, but the violence and the chaos and the humor of all of it, like people walked out of that movie theater fucked up.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, wow, like the world is different. Like sometimes you'll see a work of art or something, and you'll say that thing just changed everything. It was so wild that it influenced so many other films afterward. They tried to be like a Pulp Fiction movie, or they tried to be wild.
Well, people would ask me about that, and they go, hey, did that really bug you when there was a period of, it seemed like 5 years in the 90s where like every crime film kind of had this like ironic bit, and they talked about TV shows and played music in a weird way, and everybody was a smart ass. Right? And they asked me like, well, did that bother you? And I go, well, no, it doesn't bother me. One, I don't think any of them are as good as mine, so it just makes mine look better and better, and my dialogue look better and better. But one of my favorite directors is Sergio Leone, and I also considered I was doing to traditional gangster films, like Scorsese kind of Goodfellas kind of movies, what he was doing to traditional westerns when he did his spaghetti westerns. So then the fact that mine hit, and now the fact that it wasn't that they were just trying to do Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs. They were trying to exist in the same subgenre of crime film that I had created, which is what all the other spaghetti westerns that came out of Leone's had done. So the fact that it wasn't they were doing Reservoir Dogs or Pulp Fiction, I created a subgenre in gangster films that did not exist before, and they were trying to fill that subgenre. It was great. I had affected gangster films. I mean, by that point, to do kind of a Scorsese kind of thing was like almost passé.
Yeah. Well, you brought back John Travolta.
Yeah.
Which is pretty wild too.
Well, I remember even asking somebody. I go, okay, well, when people say Tarantino-esque, what do they mean? There was a guy I knew who was he's like a film analyst. His name Dave Scout, and he goes, well. Okay, just to give you an idea, it's like, okay, so in Bad Boys, I think it was like Bad Boys. Like, well, like in Bad Boys, okay, you have a couple of henchmen working for the bad guy, and they're sitting around the bar, and all of a sudden, they have a conversation about an I Love Lucy episode. Okay, that wouldn't have happened without you.
Yeah. Well, what is that from? I mean, where have you had this flair for references and this way of layering?
That just comes from being Gen X, man. I mean, that was the whole thing about that generation, is the idea that the generation before us that like lived through the 60s, they had the 60s, they had the accoutrement of the 60s, they had all that 60s music, and they looked down on the generation that grew up in the 60s, in the 70s. Like, you didn't have any of that shit. You didn't have the music that we had. Well, maybe we didn't have the music you had. We had our music. But what we did have is we had television. We had the Saturday morning cartoons that we dug. We had Schoolhouse Rock. We had all the TV shows we liked. We had Speed Racer. We had all these kind of things. And they meant something to us. And, kids back then, who if their parents didn't let them watch TV at a certain point, well, the parents might have actually had like the best intention, but they were actually robbing their children of the pop cultural glue that's going to tie them to their generation when they get older. And so, we had the ABC movies of the week. I mean, we had all that stuff, and we had fucking great movies. If you were going out and seeing the movies of New Hollywood, we had all that. And so, when we got older, it was about talking about that stuff. That was what was worth talking about. And then to actually have characters in a movie talk about that was making them sound realistic. And to be specific about it. And you remember that old sitcom? No. You mean Alice, okay? Talk about Mel and Alice.
Catch new episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience for free, only on Spotify. Watch back catalog JRE videos on Spotify, including clips.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Drink by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Thanks for doing this, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure, man.
I've been a gigantic fan forever, so I'm like a little kid in a candy store today.
Oh, I'm glad, man. We
Yeah.
met each other at the comedy
Yeah.
store, I think, maybe once or twice, actually.
Yeah, at least once, for sure. Dude, you had a wild ride. I mean, it's almost, your movie career is almost 30 years old now.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that crazy?
You know, it's actually wild to think I've been doing it this long and still playing the game at this level. It's pretty cool.
Well, yeah. Well, it's been such a unique ride for you, too, right? Like, you wrote, let me get this straight, you wrote True Romance, you sold it, and you used the money from True Romance to fund Reservoir Dogs,
Well, that was going to be the idea.
right?
All right. The idea was...
Pull this microphone up to your face.
There we go.
You can move it around so you don't have to lean into it.
Cool. That was going to be the idea. I was selling True Romance. I was going to get like $30,000, and I'd never had $30,000 in my life. I was a minimum wage kid. I was only like making like $150 a week, you know. At
a video store.
At a video store, Video Archives in Manhattan Beach. And so the thing about it was, so that was the kind of plan. Well, I finally got some money, then I'll shoot on 16 millimeter, this thing that I can shoot in like in a muffler shop or something, which was Reservoir Dogs. And I showed it to the guy who ended up becoming my partner on the film, Lawrence Bender. And he read it, and he was like, "Quentin, this is a pretty good script. I mean, we could actually get real money and make a real movie." And I was like, "Nah, man, I've been hearing that for years. No one's going to give me money to make a movie. I haven't done shit. You know, it's just not going to work out. It's just not going to work out. I don't buy it. Now that I've actually got some money in my hand, I'm going to do it this way and take it on the film festival circuit." And then he was like, "Okay, I'll tell you what. How about this? Give me 3 months. Just give me 3 months. If at the end of 3 months I can't get some interest to make it like a real movie, then okay, then I'll help you and we'll make the little home movie version." And so, so I gave him he paid me $100. I gave him an option for 3 months. And in 3 months, we got actually somebody who was not the person who ended up doing it, but we got somebody who was interested in doing it. That would have like given us like $600,000. And then we ended up making a deal with Live Entertainment, which was sort of the home video home of Coralco, the big Rambo studio. And they gave us like $1.3 million to make.
When you sit back and you talk about that today, does it even seem real? I mean, that you really were working in that video store and that you really did write that? I mean, it's got to be a bizarre whirlwind adventure that your life has been.
Well, it was like, well, in a way, the working at the video store was the part that was real. Everything else was like was the fairy tale.
Yeah.
I kept waiting for it all to kind of fall apart. At some point,
yeah,
this movie that's going to happen is going to fall apart. Either it's like it all falls through, or the company changes their mind, or I get fired while I'm doing it, and that's the end of that. I just, and I had friends who had gotten some places, and then things went bad. So I kept waiting for things to go bad, but then they didn't. And then I had like at a certain point, I realized, well, they're not going to fire me because the actors really love me. The actors wouldn't allow them to fire me. The actors wouldn't.
Come on, what up, bro?
So I go, I guess I'm pretty safe as far as that's concerned. But it was more like a situation where up until 91, up until I did Reservoir Dogs.
You know I'm gonna need some suggestions on video games. I posted like the pics on social media, and one of my other gamer buddies, this motherfucker, he was like, "Welcome back to reality." It's like, what games you getting up on? I'm like, I don't know, man. Right now, I'm just playing fucking Watch Dogs and Call of Duty. Yo, and I had this last night. It made me start Watch Dogs from the beginning, yo. I already put like fucking 20 hours on that shit, yo. So I don't know if like all my data didn't transfer yet or what. I loaded up Red Dead, and that shit took me right to my save point where I was at. So I don't know what's with that Watch Dogs. But anyway, my man was like, I asked him what he playing. He said he playing Rust. So I just YouTube like some Rust gameplay. That shit don't look interesting to me. That shit look like that Ark Survival and uh, Daisy or whatever that shit is, man. I don't know, like those real hard questing games where you gotta build forts and all that shit. I don't really like that. The one game that I did like that did that, and it came later on, was Fallout. Like Fallout 4, they allowed you to. It was way more in depth, where you could scavenge for more stuff and build outposts and all that shit. But uh, like some of it wasn't necessarily mandatory. But these games like that shit where it's like that's what you have to do. You have to like build up your fort and shit. Go chop trees and find shit. I don't know, man. It's like a gritty version of Minecraft and shit. Like, no. And then I watched the Rad Brad play Returnal. And I don't know, man. I don't really see what the fuck, Left hand bandit. Hey, man, I got shit to do, man. I just can't come home and jump straight on the game, bro. I wish I could. I wish I could just go jump right on the game. But I gotta paint, man. This right here is a commission. Somebody is paying me to do this. So I got to work. I got to put the work in first before I go play the games. And we call this being responsible. Nobody don't like to do it, but you got to sometimes. Sometimes you gotta be responsible. I'm gnashing my teeth right now. You don't know how hard it is for me to sit in here right now. You just don't even know, bro. You don't even know. I cannot explain it. I have a deep passion for video games. Uh, just like my man Blunt moving, you know what I'm saying? He a few years older than me, but like we come from that age, like our generation, we saw like the real emergence of video games. And it was there like in the mid and late 70s, but like towards the mid and late 80s is when that shit like started. Once they started leaving the arcades and coming into the household, like people didn't really think that it was gonna stick, you know. But we saw the birth of this shit, yo. Been doing this shit for a long time, so I'll never stop loving video games, yo. And that's like one of my true passions in life is video games. And then I always justify it because it's art. Most of the people who make video games are artists. At point blank, period. Most of the people who make video games are artists. It's interactive art is what a video game is. The writers, the character, the level builders, the puzzle builders, the motherfuckers who code everything. All that shit is artwork, bro. A moving piece of art that you can interact with and have fun with, yo. That's why I fucking love video games. I love cartoons for the same reason, yo. Especially Japanese anime, because they put so much detail into their animation. And it's art. All that shit is art, yo. And I want to be down there fucking with that shit so bad right now, bro. But I gotta do this kind of art first. Then me and my girl got to run one errand. I got a art show this Friday. I will be displaying some art at Analog Culture, which is like a like one of those high-end toy shops where you buy like the Cos toys and the Gundam toys and all the expensive models and figurines and collectibles and shit like that. It's a shop like that, yo. So that shit is fucking badass. So I got to do that this Friday. So not gonna lie, me and my girl gonna dip out to the mall because I think I might get fresh for that shit, son. Might go buy me a little fit real quick. If not a whole fit, at least some shorts. Some. It's all hot now, so my girl really wanna get her like some new shits. You gonna come to the mall with me? I guess so. I'll come to the mall and spend some fucking money though. If I had just got those other sneakers, like them shits was kind of expensive for me because I don't really be buying expensive shoes like that. Not shoes like over $200. So I ain't gonna get no new shoes. Now unless I see some cheap shits. I seen this pair of all red Nikes. They only wanted like $110 for them shits. That's normally what I'm willing to pay for shoes, like $90, $100, like $110 maybe. Try to find some shit on sale. If they still got them all red Nikes, I might cop them shits though. Cause them shits was kind of butter. Not gonna lie. They were not the 95 Air Maxes, but they were like the Jones. They got the bubble that runs across the whole sole of the shoe. The whole shoe is red, but then it got like these wires, like black wires that crisscross on the side, yo, with a black check on it. This shit is like you can just wear it with anything red, yo. Come out here, motherfuckers thinking I'm a crip and shit. What's that you bang, nigga? Nigga, I don't bang shit, bro. I'm about to go to the art show, man. Ain't nobody banging shit, bro. Buy art, not drugs. I don't know what the fucking buy. Yo, I seen the Battlefield. They do have a release date. What it is, 10/22 or something? October. I think it comes out October. What is it? Might as well say it's July, August, September. Like 3 months, 4 months. So definitely getting that. But for the next couple of months, like I don't know what the fuck. I don't know. It came with some free games. I forgot the name of this one game, you know, this little cartoony looking like comic book style game, but you gotta have 2 players to play that shit. And I tried to, I don't know, it makes you like try to log on to their servers. I don't know why I couldn't get on that shit. Anyway. So, I'm just waiting for motherfucking Battlefield, honestly. I know once I get on that Battlefield, bruh, that'd be the only game I need for like a year or so. Unless some hot ass, oh, and they said there's no story to this shit, yo. It's just all online. No fucking campaign mode. I don't really like that. I hate when I understand, okay, well, there's always a give and take. And so now they have expanded the player count per map, you know, so large but they say 200 and something players on the map, and I get it. So you gotta sacrifice something. But damn, no story. It's all good, man. That's what that was gonna lead me to say. That'll be the only game I play for a while until something comes out with a good story to it. Still trying to see what Bethesda's gonna do since they've been acquired by fucking Microsoft. Are we are we gonna get a fucking Fallout or a Elder Scrolls on the PlayStation this, anytime soon, or are they gonna fucking just save that shit for Xbox? I swear to God, they're gonna make me buy Xbox for Elder Scrolls, bro. And Fallout, like, I don't know, that's one of my favorite studios, yo. Just for those two games. Just like Naughty Dog has the Uncharted series and the Last of Us series. Those are Naughty Dog's two heavy hitters, and I love that studio for those two games, yo. Rockstar, their two heavy hitters are fucking Red Dead and Grand Theft Auto. Massive games, yo. And Bethesda, they got fucking Fallout and Elder Scrolls. And it's like, yo, please just put them shits on the PlayStation, yo. Don't don't make me buy a whole nother console, a whole nother console just for fucking two games. I don't know, cause the Forenza racing games are always pretty good, and once again, I think they're gonna put out Fable and the new Halo, and I don't know. I fell off with fucking um, Gears of War. So, and then like with the Xbox One, like I sold my shit, yo. That shit, I just did not play it, and I sold that shit. And I told myself when I was like that last gen with the Xbox, y'all motherfuckers slack so hard on that shit, bro. With like, I don't know, but now they're going hard with the new acquisitions and shit. And I was like, fuck, my guys, y'all gonna really make me come back to Xbox. And I don't mind the Microsoft platform. It's just your fucking game catalog fucking sucks, yo. If I can play that shit on PlayStation, then why would I buy the Xbox? Until y'all get a bunch of fucking games. Nice ass exclusive from fucking AAA studios. Once again, like fucking Naughty Dog, because you can't play that shit on Xbox. Like, you can't play that on the Xbox, yo. Yo, father, what up? For sure, for sure. Oh yeah. But now it's time for the fucking next VR headset. Sony already showed a little bit. I definitely got to get that. So yeah, got a show on Friday. I still haven't been to the shop yet, where it's gonna be at. I haven't been in it actually. I just seen some, just following them on social media and like just seeing pictures of it. Like I said, it looks fucking dope as shit. But at the same time, I questioned my man, like, yo, you think you? I was like, well, he invited me to do the thing, right? And I'm like, cool. And I looked up his stuff. I was like, all right, you got like a little toy shop. That's dope. I was like, I'll bring like 3 or 4 pieces and hang up in there. And he was like, oh, well, normally to be on the first Friday list as an actual art event, you have to have at least 8 or 10 pieces. And I'm like, okay. Uh, I definitely have way more art than that. But do you have enough wall space for my? If I bring fucking 10 paintings, bro, do you have enough wall space for 10 paintings? And he was like, oh yeah, 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 I got plenty of wall space, man. You can use the whole front of the shop. But then when I kind of peeked through the windows, cause when I went there one time, and the first time I went there, I actually couldn't find the place, and I thought it was like in the middle of the block, but it's actually at the corner. The second time I went there, I got there too early, and he wasn't open. I kind of looked in there then, and then I stopped by this afternoon so I can really like go in there and look. And he had the sign on his doors like, "Oh, I'll be back in 10 minutes." I'm like, "What the fuck, bro? We keep fucking missing each other." So I texted him and I was like, "Oh, I was at the shop to check it out real quick." You know, he was like, "Oh man, I'm on my way back right now." I was like, "But me, I did that shit after work, y'all." I'm like, "Dude, I'm already going home, bro. I'm not I'm not really trying to wait around today." I just told him I'll stop by tomorrow. I'm I want to drop off the art tomorrow as well. So, and I keep thinking to myself I can take like some smaller pieces, but I don't have like 8 small paintings, not like little teeny paintings. All my shit are kind of large, yo. So I'm not even. I don't know. Then it's gonna be hot as shit, and I gotta when I move my art, I gotta drive my truck, yo. And my truck ain't got no fucking AC in that bitch. Just be sweating in that bitch all day. That's why I gotta get something different, bro. If I had to drive like an hour or two to drop off some art, man, I do not want to drive that fucking truck, yo. Should be bait. Then I got an art show coming up in Philly, and at the end of July. And then um, I have another art show scheduled for November, I think, at the university. I got some dates. I got some shows pushed out towards the end of the year. This is kind of a difficult painting right here, yeah. I'm gonna need something like this. This brush looks kind of fucked up. I need to find my damn wire brush. I was actually looking for it the other day. I need to look harder. Cause I know it's in here somewhere. Okay, so that paint right there is dried up. I need to apply some more yellow ochre to the canvas. Let's get some of this right here. Some of this yellow ochre. Yellow ochre, where are you at? Alright. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to see how the fuck to save this video. Yeah, my man just sent me a video, but I can't find where I just put it at. Is it here? Alright, I think I did it. Save video.
Any luck that I had was either no luck or bad luck. Everything was always just a big build up to a horrible letdown.
In your life or in your career?
In my life, in my my career, but probably my life too. All right, and then all of a sudden, just as bad as everything went up until that time was as good as it went for the next 6 or 7 years. It literally just, they say, pendulum swings both ways. Well, eventually, after almost my 20s, all of a sudden the pendulum started swinging the other way, and everything worked out. It was kind of amazing.
Well, you're a unique guy. I mean, I don't think I have to tell you that. You have a very intense perspective on filmmaking, and the films that you produce are so uniquely Tarantino. Mm-hmm. When I went to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, me and Dave Chappelle and the whole crew, Donnell Rollins. And
yeah.
We did it at 2 o'clock in the morning, rented out a theater after a show we did in Tacoma.
Oh, so no shit. What a great way to see it.
It was awesome. Yeah, we did a show in Tacoma, and then after we did the show, we went to the theater and saw it. Mm-hmm. And while, spoiler alert, one of the most violent scenes at the end, while Brad Pitt is smashing this woman's head, I'm thinking, there's not a whole lot of dudes who can get away with this movie. Like, you're kind of grandfathered in.
Yeah, I heard you say that once before.
Because I'm like, if somebody else made this movie, I don't think they would allow it. I think that there would be massive outrage, but it's so
we are talking
Tarantino-esque.
about like 3 of the most bloodiest, violent killers of the 20th century.
Yeah.
I think like their own madness, grandfathers their face being bashed in.
Yeah, I guess you can make that argument, but it's just, like I watched Death Proof the other day.
Yeah.
And it's another one. Like there's scenes in that movie that you're like, what the fuck? Like you have so many what the fuck moments in your films.
Right.
I mean, it's one of the things that people love about them.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to go to your film and have some, esoteric, interesting, deep, long, possibly boring movie about childhood and trauma. No, it's going to be wild shit.
Yeah.
Wild shit and gunfire and fucking car accidents, and people are going to die. And they're going to die in horrific ways.
Yeah.
And that is a signature of your films, but it's uniquely you. It's like, a person can play guitar like Gary Clark Jr. Right? He plays guitar, and you can hear a couple licks and go, I think that's Gary Clark, or I think that's Stevie Ray Vaughan or Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
Your films are somehow or another you're in there.
Mm-hmm.
Your fucking DNA gets in those movies.
Well, it's funny because I've been thinking a lot about this because actually, the guy wrote Pulp Fiction with his a guy named Roger Avary, and we were both.
I love that guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Killing Zoe is fucking fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. I produced that. So Roger and me worked at Video Archives together, and we're actually getting ready to start a podcast together.
Ah.
Yeah, it's going to be called the Video Archives Podcast Show, and we'll just take one movie from that era, the 80s or the 90s, during this time of the store, the 70s, the time of the store, and just kind of examine it. It'll be us, and then if there's a guest, they get to examine it too. They're a customer. And we just kind of talk about stuff. But one of the things that was really kind of interesting that I think goes along with what you were saying is I found myself going back over the movies that we were kind of nutsing out over back when we all worked at the video store in the 80s. Now, the 80s, to me, the 80s and the 50s were the worst time for movies ever because it was just this kind of politically correct time. Now, in the 50s, it was different because that was just society. Was that? In the 80s, it was self-censorship was going on.
What started that?
Well, it was just the rise of political correctness after the 70s, where everything was just go as far as you can. Then all of a sudden, everything got watered down. In the 70s, you had movies where it's like characters weren't necessarily the hero. They were fucked up, but they were interesting characters, and you sit down and you follow them, whether it be Travis Bickle or Charlie Rain in Rolling Thunder, or Joe, Peter Boyle's character in Joe. They weren't the heroes, but you could even have heroes, and they could die meaninglessly at the end. That was actually considered a commercial
a commercial ending back in the 70s, because it just shows how you can't win. Everything's fucked. You just can't win in America. It's just the way it is. You go and you fight in Vietnam, you survive Vietnam, and you get shot in a liquor store during a holdup. Everything was cynical. Then, all of a sudden, in the 80s, all that was washed away. And the most important thing about a character was that they were likable. And that was every character had to be likable, and the audience had to like everybody. And even a movie that pushed the envelope and tried to do chancy things, well, it could do it for about an hour. Then the last 20 minutes would be them literally going back on everything they did the first hour, apologizing it and making everything fine. And just I'll give you a good example of that. Okay, it's just like, okay, the critics always really preferred Bill Murray movies to Chevy Chase movies. However, it does seem as if the point of all the Bill Murray movies is that he's this kind of hip, cool, curmudgeon, smartass guy who in the last 20 minutes gets a transformation and becomes this nice guy.
Yeah.
And almost apologizes for who he was the entire movie, the whole rest of the movie before that happened.
Groundhog Day,
Stripes, Groundhog Day, Scrooge, the whole thing. I mean, when like for instance, Stripes. How does he go from where Warren Oates kicks his ass, deservedly kicks his ass? He deserves to get belly punched by Warren Oates in that movie. How does he go from being this iconoclastic, I don't give a fuck about anything, I get beat up by Warren Oates, to now he's rallying the troops? Yeah. And now he's getting their army on during the parade, and now he's like leading a secret mission. And same thing with Groundhog Day. I mean, does anybody really think a less sarcastic Bill Murray is a better Bill Murray? I mean, maybe it's better for Andy McDowell, but not for us as the viewer. Yet, Chevy Chase movies don't play that shit. Chevy Chase is the same supercilious asshole at the end of the movie that he is at the beginning. He never changes in his stuff. He's always like a bit of a dick, and is always completely sarcastic. I mean, unless they cast him playing a dope like he is in the Vacation movies. But when he's playing like a Chevy character, he's he never apologizes for who he is, stays that way throughout the whole film. And even if there is a slight change, that's not the whole point of the movie.
Yeah.
Is like turning him into a nice cuddly guy.
Have you ever worked with him?
No, I'd love to.
I'm a gigantic fan of his early work with the Fletch stuff. I just think in Saturday Night Live and so many movies.
Oh, the whole first season of Saturday Night, like pretty much all those early movies, except for Oh Heavenly Dog, all those early movies.
He seems today to be this like really uncomfortable person. Mm-hmm. It's almost like too many people paid attention to him for too long, and it freaked him out. Like, I don't know him, but when I see, stories about him or interviews with him or, any weird controversy that happens with him, I'm almost like, I think the guy just got overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Like, now he's just like, get the fuck away from me! Get the fuck away! Like, everything is get the fuck away from me, it seems like.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
but I'm a big fan of his, and he was really handsome for so long.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Really handsome,
oh, yeah.
God.
For a comedian.
Especially for a comedian.
Yeah, like in Fletch.
Yeah.
He was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and girls loved him.
Oh, foul play, and it was great.
Right. But he also it was a very particularly Chevy Chase style of humor.
Yeah. No, when he hit on Saturday Night Live, I was watching it that first season.
Yeah.
It's like, by the time he hit, when he would show up in a sketch, I mean, he was a superstar.
Yeah.
Lorne Michaels even said it was like, Chevy Chase had to leave for the show to really become the show, or else it would have just become the Chevy Chase Show.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing when you think about the group of talent that he was working with at the time.
Yeah.
This was like the Gilda Radner age.
They would have all been his backup. They would have all been his backup band.
Wow.
It would have been Chevy Chase and his not ready for primetime players.
Yeah.
He was supposed to play Otter in Animal House.
Really?
Yeah. You look at it, you can tell it's written for Chevy Chase.
Yeah, it seems like it
Tim
would fit.
Matheson is basically playing Chevy Chase.
Yeah. There's a lot of those films that you try to watch today, and you go, Jesus, I don't know if you could ever do this. Like, there's so many films that you try to watch today. Like, I just watched Superbad the other day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I don't even know if you could do Superbad today. And that's not even that long ago.
Well, I don't believe in that kind of statement, because the thing about it is, I think that statement is a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. If you say it's going to be a problem, it's going to be a problem. All right, because it comes with usually the idea, well, I don't know if they would let you do that. Well, who the fuck is they?
Well, you say that as
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino, but if you're Quentin Tarantino in 1991,
Well, okay, yeah, well, I'm Quentin Tarantino in 1991 doing Reservoir Dogs, coming off of the 80s,
Right.
which was the decade of they won't let you do that.
that's true.
And I remember, like, okay, for instance, I'll give you an example. So I'm working at Video Archives, and now, by the way, that whole horrible time, and by the way, we're going through the 80s part 2 right now,
Right
except
now.
except there's more of a McCarthy-esque blacklist aspect to it than was in the 80s. The 80s seemed very, people were doing it to themselves. Where here is, no, people are doing it to you. But I remember, okay, so in the 80s, this is only happening in America. In other countries, they were making bold, wild cinema. The Hong Kong movies were off the fucking chart. Pedro Almodovar was like making his wild sex comedies. Amazing. Anyway, so Pedro Almodovar had a movie called Matador with Antonio Banderas that came out. Very funny movie. The movie starts, the opening credits, is a guy sitting in a chair in his living room with his pants down around his ankles. And he's jerking off. And what he's jerking off to are the most bloody, violent scenes in slasher movies. He's got like all his favorite moments from slasher movies, of women getting murdered, all cut together, and he's jerking off. And that's the opening credits. And it's just like, there was like nothing like that available in America. They're like, oh my God, this is the wildest shit ever, man. This is amazing. And so I remember I was like sitting at Video Archives and I was saying, well, I want to do shit like that when I'm making movies. And then one of the guys said, well, they won't let you, Quentin. And my answer was, well, who's they? Who are they to tell me what I can and can't do, can or cannot do? And at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding. I never let they stop me. I did what I wanted to do. And by doing what I wanted to do, we changed the 90s. The 90s stopped being politically correct. And all of a sudden, like in 1 year, Reservoir Dogs, El Mariachi, Man Bites Dog, Romeo is Bleeding. I mean, all these like wild, wild, ironic, violent movies started coming out that just didn't exist in 1989.
That's so true.
And then comes Seven, and then it's like we built a bridge, and then everyone followed it. Everyone went over the bridge.
Was there any resistance? Like when you wrote Reservoir Dogs and people are going over it, were there any people that wanted to water it down or censor it or say it'd be more marketable if maybe you took certain scenes out? Or
Well, there was in script form, a lot of the violent stuff just kind of went over their heads because they just kind of saw it as a play. There was violent stuff, but Dave was talking about how much talking was in it.
Right.
But when I finished it and had been on the film festival circuit with it for a year, when Miramax bought it, Harvey tried to talk me into cutting the torture scene out. With Mr. Blonde and the guy in the chair and
Getting
the
his
ear.
ear cut off?
Yeah. He tried to talk me out of that. And his reasoning was, he might ended up being right. All right, his reasoning was, look, Quentin, this is a movie that anybody can watch. But with that torture scene, you're gonna alienate women. They're not going to want to see this. So you're putting your own movie in a little box. But without that scene, anybody can go and see this movie and everybody will enjoy it. And that's kind of actually where I became me, because Harvey was used to winning these type of arguments. And he had a bunch of yes men going, but because I had actually been on the film festival circuit for an entire year, one, I saw that he was right, because people were always walking out during that scene. Sometimes it would be 5, sometimes it would be 35. All right, they were always walking out because also it's a film festival. You don't exactly know what you're seeing. You know, you read it in the catalog. It sounds interesting. You know, it's not like, you know, it's not you're being set up the way you are when a movie opens theatrically.
Right.
You know, so but I did know that. Yeah, no, that was the moment of truth for most people. That scene. But now I think it's the best scene in the fucking movie. So and I spent a year watching it. So I was in Buffalo, and I go, well, you know, it's that movie. It's what the movie is, and. You may be right, but I don't care. This is the movie, and it has that scene. And Harvey realized he wasn't going to get his way, and he's used to getting his way. I stood fast, and there was like a beat of like. Okay, we're going to leave the scene in, and I want you to remember that it was Miramax who left it alone.
Wow. That's an interesting way to control the situation, right?
Yeah.
Take it and
Yeah.
bring it all back to him.
Mm.
How weird is it for you to have had a relationship with that guy for all these years, making all these films, and now he's become?
It's sad. It's sad. It was like, you know, he wasn't just this guy who financed my movies. He was, you know, kind of like a father figure. I mean, he was kind of a fucked up father figure, but that's most people's fucking father.
Yeah.
You know, he was a fucked up father figure, but he was like, you know, he was involved in, you know, my professional life for like a long, long time. So it's like, it's, you know, I think it's sad.
Oh, it's definitely sad. It's just, it's surreal though, too, right?
Yeah.
Because we've never seen, other than Bill Cosby, we've never seen like a fall like this before.
Mm.
It's so strange.
Yeah, well, you know, one of the things is funny. Like I did an interview with the two women that cracked the case on the New York Times. I did a talk with them during that time. I don't really talk about it that much afterwards because I'm like, well, I did it with them and that's enough. But one of the things I ended up like saying is, well, I wish I had done more during the time. And a lot of people like read a lot of what that could possibly mean.
Right.
Well, actually, what it means is I wish I had talked to the guy. I wish I had sat him down and had the uncomfortable conversation. I didn't know about any rapes or anything like that. I just, you know, but I knew he was, you know, I chalked it up to the boss chasing the secretary around the desk, you know, as if that's okay. But I mean, that's how I kind of looked at it. You know, he was, you know, making unwanted advances. That's how I looked at it. But I wish I had talked to him. I wish I had sat him down and go, Harvey, you can't do this. You're gonna fuck up everything.
Do you think that no one talked to him, and maybe that was how he got so completely out of control?
Yeah, maybe his brother Bob, maybe, but I don't think anybody talked to him about it. And the thing about it is, everybody who was in his orbit knew about it. There's nobody who said they didn't know that didn't know.
Mm.
If you were in his orbit, and that includes all the big actors who he palled around with, they all knew. They all knew. They didn't know they didn't know anything about rapes, but they had heard.
Yeah.
They had heard things. They had heard about him just, you know, putting the bite on somebody in a limo or something.
The story of the rich, powerful producer and the actress who wants to be in films is a story that's as old as film itself.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's just one of those stories that goes on. I mean, it was almost like, I mean, I don't really have a history in film, but from what it's been explained to me, that's always what it's been like.
Yeah, they gave me a tour of Shaw Brothers Studios, and I'm taking a tour of Shaw Brothers Studios, and they take me into the screening room, and I'm like, okay, well, you see that chair in the back there, that was reserved for the owner of the studio, Run Shaw. That's where he sat, and in the back room is a little bed. And that's reserved for where Run Shaw took the starlets.
Really?
Yeah. And it was all.
Wow. When you found out about all this, like when you first getting, was it what was that like? Like going from being a guy working in a video store to entering into this bizarre world of power and influence and.
Well, it started with just going on the film festival circuit, because I went from a place where I had like barely left Los Angeles County, all right, most of my life, to like going all around the world. You know, in 1 year I was on 3 different continents.
Wow.
And it was amazing. I was like a shook up soda can. I mean, I was just like living the time of my life. I mean, you know, going to a film festival. Forget having a movie in the festival. Forget having a movie that's like people dig. Yeah, just going to film festivals and like meeting all the people and seeing like 3 movies a day at the film festival and get the program. Okay, I'm gonna see this. I'm gonna see this. I'm gonna have dinner over here, and then I haul ass. And I can get here for the 10:30 show of blah blah blah. And and being interviewed. I've been waiting forever to be interviewed. Now all of a sudden, everyone wanted to talk to me. It was great, and I could hold court on any weird theories about film that I had along the way. It was awesome.
For me, how I got introduced to you, I'd heard about Reservoir Dogs, but the first film I saw was Pulp Fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw Pulp Fiction with this girl that I was dating when I first moved to Los Angeles. And I remember being in Mann's Chinese Theater watching this.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like this crazy change in my life.
That was in the first few weeks of it opening, yeah, because that's where it opened.
Yeah. Crazy change in my life, moving to Los Angeles and then seeing this film. And then I remember very clearly, like at the end of the film, like even in the middle of the film, going, this is the craziest fucking movie I've ever seen in my life. And this scene, it symbolized to me like the world was changing, like everything was changing. It was so wild and so crazy. It was a film it was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. All the different timelines, how you interwove everything together, but the violence and the chaos and the humor of all of it, like people walked out of that movie theater fucked up.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, wow, like the world is different. Like sometimes you'll see a work of art, something, and you'll say that thing just changed everything. It was so wild that it influenced so many other films afterwards. They tried to be like a Pulp Fiction movie, or they tried to be wild.
Well, people would ask me about that, and they go, hey, did that really bug you when there was a period of, it seemed like 5 years in the 90s where like every crime film kind of had this like ironic bit, and they talked about TV shows and played music in a weird way, and everybody was a smart ass, right? And they asked me like, well, did that bother you? And I go, well, no, it doesn't bother me. One, I don't think any of them are as good as mine, so it just makes mine look better and better, and my dialogue look better and better. But, you know, one of my favorite directors is Sergio Leone. And I always considered I was doing to traditional gangster films, like, you know, Scorsese, kind of Goodfellas kind of movies, what he was doing to traditional westerns when he did his spaghetti westerns. So then the fact that mine hit, and now the fact that it wasn't that they were just trying to do Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs. They were trying to exist in the same subgenre of crime film that I had created, which is what all the other spaghetti westerns that came after Leone's had done. So the fact that it wasn't they were doing just Reservoir Dogs or Pulp Fiction ripoffs, I created a subgenre in gangster films that did not exist before. They were trying to fill that subgenre, and that was fucking awesome.
That's gotta be a wild feeling.
It was great. I had affected gangster film. I mean, by that point, to do kind of a Scorsese kind of thing was like almost passé.
Yeah. Well, you brought back John Travolta.
Yeah,
which is pretty wild, too.
Well, I remember even asking somebody, I go, okay, well, when people say Tarantino-esque, what do they mean? And there was a guy I knew, he's like a film analyst, his name is Dave Scow. And he goes, well, okay, just to give you an idea, it's like, okay, so in Bad Boys, I think it would it's like Bad Boys. I go, well, like in Bad Boys, okay, you have a couple of henchmen working for the bad guy, and they're sitting in their car, and all of a sudden, they have a conversation about an I Love Lucy episode. Okay, that wouldn't have happened without you. Yeah,
it's true. Yeah, well, what is that from? I mean, where have you had this this flair for references, and then this way of layering?
That just comes from being Gen X, man. I mean, that was the whole thing about about that generation, is the idea that the generation before us that lived through the 60s, they had the 60s, they had the accoutrement of the 60s, they had all that 60s music, and they looked down on the generation that grew up in the 60s, in the 70s. Like, you didn't have any of that shit. You didn't have the music that we had. Well, maybe we didn't have the music you had. We had our music. But what we did have is we had television. We had the Saturday morning cartoons that we dug. We had Schoolhouse Rock. We had all the TV shows we liked. We had Speed Racer. We had all these kind of things. And they meant something to us. And, you know, kids back then, who if their parents didn't let them watch TV at a certain point, well, the parents might have actually had like the best intentions, but they were actually robbing their children of the pop cultural glue that's going to tie them to their generation when they get older. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, we had the ABC movies of the week. I mean, we had all that stuff, and we had fucking great movies. If you were going out and seeing the movies of New Hollywood, we had all that. And so, when we got older, it was about talking about that stuff. That was what was worth talking about. And then to actually have characters in a movie talk about that was making them sound realistic. And to be specific about it. And you remember that old sitcom? No. You mean Alice, okay? Talk about Mel and Alice.
But all the dialogue heavy stuff, it was a beautiful counterbalance for the explosive violence.
Yeah.
And the wild craziness of your films.
Well, look, I had thought in my 20s, I had wanted to be a stand-up comedian. I had thought that might be where I'd go because, you know, I still look at, to this day, it's been cool how you've been talking so much about like the Comedy Store, and then there's been all these like documentaries come out about it and all these pieces coming out about it and everything. And so, you know, growing up in like the 70s and into the 80s, I mythologized the Comedy Store too. And actually the first time I went down to the Comedy Store, it's like, 82, 83. I mean, I saw it forever, driving past it. And finally I brought it up to a buddy of mine, hey, let's just go. And so we show up at the Comedy Store around like 11:30, 12 at night, or whatever. And it's like, say, 82 or 83. We walk in the Comedy Store, on stage, never seen him before in my life, never heard of him before, Andrew Dice Clay. That's who's on stage.
Wow.
When we come walking in. And he's doing hickory-dickory-dock. And he's doing his full, like, Dice Clay routine. And then the number one thing, like, whoa, boy, he'll never get on Carson with that. You know, boy, that was the whole thing. Almost like what you were saying about, well, they won't let you do that. Okay, well, he'll never get on Carson with that shit. All right, that was like the whole thing. So he comes on, and Paul Rodriguez comes on, who I'd seen and stuff. And then like a few other guys come on, and then it gets to be towards the end of the show. And then you hear in the audience, bring on the beast! Bring on the beast! Okay, everybody, here we go. Last person of the night. You love him? You can't live without him? Ladies and gentlemen, Sam Kinison. And I never heard of Sam Kinison before. And he walked up there, last guy on the lineup, and I've never laughed harder in my life as I laughed at Sam Kinison doing his, routine at the close of the Comedy Store. It was, I mean, like, I drinks. It was like I lost control of myself. And it was so great. I came back the next night to see if the Sam Kinison thing was just like did it even happen?
Right.
Did it even happen? And then, yeah, there it was. It happened. That's the guy. And I laughed just as much at the shit a second time. I was like, my God, like, I wanted to follow this guy like a religious leader. I thought it was the most eye-opening stuff I'd ever seen. And I was coming from a similar place. Women had treated me like shit. I was like, fuck yeah, man. This guy's right. And, I was just 2 steps away from being an incel, all right? So it was like Sam Kinison was, he was speaking the word, man.
I found about Kinison from a girl that I work with at a health club.
Uh-huh.
I worked at this place called the Boston Athletic Club. It was a gym in South Boston.
Mm-hmm.
I was teaching people how to lift weights, and there was this girl who was, I think she played volleyball or something. She was like this big, like, bold personality. Mm-hmm. She was hilarious. She was a really funny girl. And she was telling me, because she knew I liked comedy, and I never even thought about doing comedy back then. This was 90. I was or 1986. So I was 19 years old. And she tells me about this HBO special that she saw with this guy Sam Kinison. And then she does. We're out in the parking lot of the.
And she starts doing the routine. Yeah.
She starts doing the routine of him paying money to, like, he had a routine about homosexual necrophiliacs paying money to the mortuaries to spend time with the freshest male corpses. So here's this girl.
Oh, this is great!
Yeah, this girl's lying on her stomach in the parking lot going, oh, you mean life keeps fucking in the ass even after you're dead? It never ends! It never ends! Oh, oh! Yeah. So she's doing the impression of it. I'm howling at her impression of it.
Right.
And then I got to a video store and I got a copy of the VHS.
Okay, well, dude, I was into him a year and a half before that. All right, you're talking. He's already like mainstream. He's already done his HBO special by then. This was like no one's giving him shit other than Mitzi.
Yeah, you were there at the ground floor.
Fucking year and a fucking half before he did any TV.
Do you know the origin story of Sam Kinison?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. No, I'm pretty familiar.
He's a normal guy.
Yeah.
And he got hit by a car when he was a kid. And got brain damage.
And but he was like the weird, like Marjo Gorner. He was like the weird evangelist kid.
Yeah, but his brother wrote about it in Brother Sam. His brother Bill wrote a book about it. He was like a totally normal kid, gets hit by a car, and then he's just this wild, unstoppable.
Well, that I didn't know. Okay, that I didn't know.
Well, there's quite a few people like that. Roseanne Barr is another one. Hit by a car when she was 15. She spent 9 months afterwards in a mental institution. She couldn't count anymore. She used to be excellent at math. She got hit by a car, spent 9 months in a mental institution, couldn't count anymore. Her brain was completely fucked.
No, I had a friend got hit by a car, and then when she came to, she couldn't speak English. She could only speak Spanish.
Whoa. Could you speak Spanish before that?
Yeah, I think she had like just high school Spanish, but then all of a sudden, like for I think four days or so, she could only access the Spanish part of her brain.
Wow. Well, something happens to people when they get brain injuries where they get really impulsive and wild, and they're reckless, and that's what became of Kinison. He became this wild, reckless, like maniac, and it literally came out of a brain injury. It's amazing. I mean, it's terrible. You don't want anybody to have a brain injury, but on the other hand, that's the only way to create a Kinison.
That's the only way exactly. That's the only. That's where the lab experiment starts.
It's hard for people to understand how revolutionary that guy was. Because when I was a kid, he was the first guy that ever made me think about comedy. Like, that I could do comedy. Because I always thought comedy was those guys you saw on the Tonight Show. Where they,
Well, it's like the first real official thing he did outside of the Comedy Store was he did one of those like comedy tapes that Rodney Dangerfield hosted. So it was like him and Roseanne Barr, and then like a couple of other, Bob Nelson, doing his Boxer Dude. And then so like, oh my God, this is the dude. This is the dude. This is before he gets his own special. He just does Rodney's special.
No, I remember that very well. But
so we had all those tapes, man. I watched all that stuff. I remember you used to, on Comedy Central, you would do the your little non sequiturs.
Jesus Christ, you remember those?
Yeah, when you had hair and you do the little non sequiturs talking about, you pretend I'm sitting in front of a brick wall. And I'm talking about LA and New York.
That's like 93 or 92 or something like that. That's crazy.
No, I was just like, I did Mark Maron show. Hey, I remember you. Short attention span theater, right?
Wow.
Penn Jillette doing all the promo voices.
Penn Jillette, Well,
Penn Jillette. Jillette.
God, it's amazing that you were at the store in '82. Was Pryor there at all?
No, he would make personal. He would make. It was always a big deal. Him and Robin Williams would just show up every once in a while. No, it was like boring Paul Muni, doing his fucking 45-minute act, blowing down everybody else, right, who wanted to come on, and Tom Brogan, all right, the guy who he had a show, and I think he was one of the producers on the Tonight Show at a certain point.
Jimmy Brogan.
Jimmy Brogan, yeah,
that's right.
Jimmy Brogan would come on. Jeff Altman.
Oh wow.
Would come on doing their bit. Carrie Snow. It was the time of Carrie Snow, which I always wondered whatever happened to her. I thought she was really funny.
She was really funny. I don't know what happened to her. Yeah, that's an amazing time. You that was probably literally the heyday of the Comedy Store when you were there.
Yeah. Well, it was definitely the new generation was coming
Yeah.
was coming around, and you know, I talked with Jim Carrey once, and he was like, "No," he goes, "No, that was the time when I knew I could kill with impressions, but I knew I had to get away from impressions." And like Sam Kinison was my best friend, and he was like the one teaching me, telling me I gotta stop doing impressions. And Mitzi would go, "What are you talking about? You're the king of impressions." And I thought, well, okay, so I'm the king of impressions. So what? The best I can hope for is Rich Little. I want more than that. And but that means going up on the Comedy Store and bombing, knowing that if I just did one impression, I'd win the audience completely over. And so, like, when you know you have killer material in your pocket and you refuse to use it, and you refuse, but you're gonna, painfully recreate yourself.
She had a few guys like that.
With MailChimp's marketing smarts, you get a whole lot of creative smarts, recommendation smarts.
Gene.
I'm born, I was raised in this country, and I live in Los Angeles now. No, I do. I live in Los Angeles. It's weird, though, because when you tell people in Los Angeles you grew up in Canada, they don't know what goes on up here, So a lot of times you get the same answer. Wow! Must have been cold! I used to get upset. I used to explain to them about the 4 different kinds of seasons we have and stuff like that, but now I find it's more fun just to go along with it.
Yes. Canada. It was a frozen, hostile wasteland. And there was much work to be done if we were to survive the elements. After boring a hole through the ice to find food, my good friend Nantuk and I would build an igloo to protect ourselves from polar bears and flying hockey pucks. Then we would drink a lot of beer. And when Nantuk was ready, he would tell me the story of the great moose, who said to the little squirrel, "Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat."
Oh, man. But I'm here now. I'm here and I feel good tonight. Really good. Excellent. Super. I just want to go. I think those subliminal motivation tapes are starting to make a difference. Need something, Seems like we're always trying to fend off these negative impulses, It's like you're with a friend, could be your best friend in the whole world, standing about 2 feet away talking to you. You're thinking, my goodness, I could just fire out and hit him right now. You would never expect it. He's my friend! See, insanity is never that far away. It's as close as saying yes to the wrong impulse. The people who stay sane are the people who can make those quick decisions. Should I stick my fingers into the fan or leave the room right now? Should I run the blade of this razor across my tongue or just keep shaving? You're right there. You can just go. See, luckily, most of us have that little voice inside our head that says, the car into oncoming traffic is counterproductive. We could learn to control our impulse. Man, we could all be like Jimmy Stewart. You know? I love that guy. You know, because no matter what happens, no matter how bad things get, Jimmy Stewart can look at it in a positive way.
Well, I guess we're going to have ourselves a nuclear holocaust. Well, hey, come over to the window. Oh, look at that mushroom cloud. Isn't that beautiful? And the amazing thing to me is that something so magnificent, so colorful, just melt your face right off.
Positive energy, you know? We gotta find a way to channel these impulses in a positive way. That's why I love music. Anything that makes a human being want to go is okay with me. We should open up the parameters of what we listen to, though, you know? There's just so much wonderful music in the world. And it bothers me that the people in this country and the United States don't know about the incredible pop music coming out of the Middle East right now. I'm totally into it. I'd like to be the one to bring it to the West. Come on, clap your hands. We'll do one of the songs. Just like that. Here we go. Yeah. We don't get to listen to that, you know? Radio is just so much different over there. That was Sorry Bob by Cool Abdul.
Guy's a very, very funny guy, one of the smartest comedians out there. He's a staple on Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn. Ladies and gentlemen, show me your love. Give him some energy, Mr. Patrice O'Neal, guys.
Give it up for Pedro. Remember this nigga, this Puerto Rican, whatever Pedro is? Fucking shit. Somebody give him a deal for fucking? You know, for he ain't giving up for Jason Steinberg, who passed 10,000 emails and nobody showed up to this motherfucker. He emailed me 4 times, nigga. I almost didn't show up because I was annoyed. I ain't shit. Please come to my own shit. That made me feel good, cocksucker. Nigga told me to make the best of this horse shit with a bunch of LA people. This town is I'm leaving. I came here to see if I can get an agent and then leave. I'm done. Surround myself with Jews and see what happens. I got an army of Jews. No bullshit. Come on, man. Have fun once in your fucking life. What the fuck is your fucking problem? What are you thinking about? Saving what? White girls always trying to save something. No one has respect for LA anymore. You motherfuckers voting for Schwarzenegger. You're useless. You're a laughing stock. Did you know that? Around the other parts of the country, you voted for that goofy motherfucker? No one likes likes you no more for that shit. And he ran on a platform of his movie quotes. The taxes, you motherfuckers. God don't like bullshit politicians. That's he trying to kill you motherfuckers. Burn you to death, put you in the mud. God's trying to kill you and you won't leave. God's trying to kill George Bush's brother over there in Florida. It was 85 hurricanes. They trying to kill him. God don't like even white people. They gonna kill, I'm telling you. God hasn't even killed George Bush's brother. He killed all kind of innocent white people that live in the swamps. I ain't no better. I live in Jersey. My governor's a sissy. Governor's a fag. And he's proud of it. I like to say that I'm proud to be gay and, you know, I'm a gay American. That didn't bother me. He said, I like to thank the support of my family, my lovely wife. That's the wrong speech. You should have said, I like to thank this stupid bitch for standing here thinking you look like a complete fucking idiot while I'm telling her I fucked her in the ass and I cheated on her. Bitch, you don't stand a chance. Even if I want to stay faithful, I fuck men, you dumb bitch. Boy, you stupid. Fuck was she trying to support? Did he drug this bitch? I mean, what was she trying to support? Support her gay, cheating husband. There was a chance? Shit's fucked up, man. I'm gay, you know. I'm coming out to say that I'm gay. I wish my wife was here to support me, but she's at home stabbing my dog and burning my clothes. Scratching faggot on the hood of my car. Cursing out my mama, bitch! Bitch, you knew he was a faggot! Look, read me this. I'm acting phony, bitch. You knew this, motherfucker! Black women don't like the DL. I guess evidently all black men are gay for some reason. I don't know. You on the DL? Anybody? Shut the fuck up. White women support your men under any circumstance. If y'all, after they kill you, if you wasn't dead, you would support them. You would support them from the grave. He didn't mean to straighten me up. I like to support my ghostly dead wife for supporting me for killing her. White guys are useless. I'ma say it. No one has respect for you. I'm not saying, hey, white guys, I'm telling you, motherfuckers are just becoming complete losers, man. Phony. Phony. Release all your rights to racism should be released to me. Because you niggas is not doing a good job no more, man. You're worried about what people think about you. Not me. I'm a racist to my bones. Motherfuckers shot. Average of the new niggas, man. And I'm taking advantage of this shit. You think I'm not taking advantage of being racist? I'm practicing my entire life to treat people like shit. You motherfuckers are all racist. Oh, every 5 minutes, man. Why are Arabs working at the airport? Because you motherfuckers in that white guilt. Nigga, they can't work there. President O'Neill, Arabs cannot work at the airport. Why? Because you're Arab, motherfucker. There ain't gonna be no goofy shit that I write so you fucking are tricked. You're Arab. You're the niggas that I'm worried about. Especially checking ID. No. Indians either. The dark Indians, you can't work there because I'm not sure if you're Arab. I can't tell the difference between you and Arab. So dark Indians, you can't work. On the outskirts where you don't need level 5 clearance, motherfucker. You work at the McDonald's or the duty free, whatever the fuck you want to work at. Not where you let people through. If you think I worked at the airport as security, I wouldn't let a nigga through every once in a while. Like, go ahead, man, don't worry about it. Then you hear on the news, oh my God, 16 niggas, we don't know how they stuck everything on there, hijacked the plane and flew into something. How they get through? Because I let them through, because I'm nigga, comfortable no more, man. I want you to be racist, please. So we can get on with this shit. Subjugating the earth. We either gonna do it or we not. I don't want to hear this goofy cracker George Bush trying to be diplomatic and well-spoken. He's a crazy cracker, that's what he is. I don't want Kerry to be the president. He can't be the president. Look, we should have two presidents. One who's fun and, you know, get his dick sucked and we all like him and shit. And one that kills people. Destroys and burns the earth while the other guys tiptoe around and we love them. We're not gonna be right if Kerry's the president worried about them fucking Arabs. He's a sucker. He's a playboy, he's a pimp. That dude's a pimp. He's from old school, you know, Kennedys, man. He's old school Kennedy type nigga, man. He pulls bad bitches, man. He can pull bad bitches in time. I can't vote for a motherfucker whose wife is infinitely more, like, interesting. This bitch owns ketchup. How am I gonna vote for the nigga? I can't stop looking at this bitch. I'm going, she owns ketchup. Teresa Hines Kerry, how do you negotiate even letting this bitch get his last name? He must have argued her hyphen must be a half a mile. Teresa Hines and then Kerry. Way the fuck over there. Why would she need that goofy Kerry at the end of Hines? I don't care how many low-carb things you do. You gonna put ketchup and mustard and relish on some shit? On your turkey burger and your fucking cottage cheese, whatever the fuck. His fucking wife is amazing. I mean, I don't like Bush, but he's killing motherfuckers like he's supposed to. Because no matter how sweet we try to be, man, look, our job is not to give a fuck about other people. That's why we're number one. Do you understand why we're number one? Let me ask a white guy, why are we number one in this world? Yeah. He said we kill people, but that's not why. A lot of people kill people, but why people think we're number one. Why they hate us like we're number one. They don't hate England like they're number one no more. England sucks now. England raped and pillaged the entire earth for like a minute. We don't really rape and pillage. We rape the earth with our like clothes and our style and stuff like that. Or black people's clothes, whatever. Because we don't care. That's our job. We don't give a fuck. We're the only people in this world that know how to do this. We do this. No one knows how to do that. You go to another country, anybody been out of this country, man? People don't do this. They care about everything. You go like this, and they go, you were late. English people hate us because we were late for the war. Like, I thought we saved them or something from World War II, but evidently, our soldiers came over and fucked all their women after the Germans bombed the shit. So we came late and then fucked their women, right? So they hate us, but they tell me this, and I go, come on, man, who cares? I don't know who my father is. Who are you? What are you crying about, man? I love a country that treats me like dog shit. Because I ain't going back to Africa. That's another thing. I'm not going back to no fucking Africa. Africa ain't shit. We ain't the lost children of Africa. Black people are like a special case. We're some new motherfuckers, man. We ain't African. What am I doing in Africa? Can't wear no nice clothes. I'm gonna be over there fighting. Got some sweatpants and tuxedo shoes with a fucking AK-47 fighting. The Belgians told me, get the fuck out of here. Africans ain't shit. I'm American and shit. I don't know what the fuck I am, but I ain't African. We don't love us. Fuck Africa. But this country can't lose. Because we arrogant. That's why we're number one. We don't give a fuck. You know, I was watching Fox, you know the first, they cutting off heads over that in Iraq like it ain't shit. We are on like orange alert, like right underneath the high. You know the first news thing of the day on Fox News the other day? The 4th annual Puff Pie pastry eating contest in Wisconsin. We don't give a fuck. should be all Al Jazeera Network. Every time they show that get a takeover, we show nigga eating puff pie.
Well, first of all, I said, I guess I offended people. Oops. I said, I guess it's illegal. It's illegal to have an opinion now. He said, you didn't offend me, but how he was is why I don't get along with other gays. For someone who interrupts people all the time, had no right to speak like that. And it almost felt like he's sexist. I just try to ignore him anymore, really. I said, yeah, I'm at that same point. I don't give a fuck who you fuck, how you dress, how you identify, as long as you allow me to be myself. I said, have I ever made any of you guys feel bad for being gay? Because all of my 3 co-workers, they're all gay. One's a lesbian and 2 gay guys. So I was like, have I ever made y'all feel bad or left out for being gay? And furthermore, it's more y'all in the call center than it is straight people. I said, because I'm not homophobic and I can accept people's differences. I said, who cares if I'm straight and you're not? But basically, he was on the same type shit, and he was like, I'm just going to ignore his ass now, and that's why I'm getting along with other gay people.
No. Y'all beefing, so I would say send him the link, but fuck it, that shit ain't gonna help him anyway.
No, I'm going to lose my job if I do that.
Yeah, he won't.
But my boss was sitting there like, and she didn't even stop us. Because this shit got heated for a minute. He was like, Marisa, da-da-da. I said, oh, hold on, wait a minute. I don't think I was done speaking yet. I don't. Because he don't want to listen to nothing you have to say. I was talking about Prince yesterday, and I talked about how the shit he used to wear. He was like, but he was Prince. I'm like, hold on, let me finish while you busy trying to finish my sentence for me. With Prince wearing what he wore, he could still take a straight man's bitch. I ain't say that. I said woman. But I was trying to get to a point, and the motherfucker like, oh, people hating on Prince. Like, bitch, did you even hear what I had to say yet? Or you are automatically assuming I'm about to say something about him? You're just a fucking weirdo. Mark was like, that's why I don't get along with other gays now. And that's why I fucking love Mark. He said, if I'm ever that way, slap the shit out of me. For real. I said, right by his off. This is why I love you. But he said, I went to nursing school, Marisa, and I know because it's chemicals in the body. And it's a stereotype that men are stronger than women.
Listen,
I said, no, it's science. I said, and first of all, I said, you were a nursing student. Emphasis on words, Sean. And I was being a straight up bitch, but I felt the need to do that shit because motherfucker piped the fuck down. And the thing about it is the lesbian chick, Ellen, asked me a question and said, what do you think about trans people competing in the Olympics? And I said, I don't care what trans people do with themselves. I don't care what straight people do with themselves. I said, but I don't think it's fair when it comes to boxing or wrestling, shit like that.
And that's why they don't do that. That's why they get in.
And that's what I asked him. And he said, women didn't even have a right to vote until the Civil War. And I said, and when was the fucking Civil War, Sean? I said, what year are we in right now? I said, what year are we in right now?
Yeah.
I said, if that's the fucking case, I said, they would have then did women and men together.
And that's why the ultimate comeback for that is, why don't women play football with men in professional? Why aren't women playing on the NFL with men?
And if you take hormone, you're equal to a woman. You're not going to be stronger than her. I said, Sean, I said, I can guarantee you I weigh more than you. I said, and even though I'm a strong woman, I said, it's your height, and even with you weighing less than me, you being scrawny, I said, I bet you're stronger than me.
Motherfuckers don't understand testosterone. You go
and he a little pansy ass motherfucker, so you already know.
You go your entire life producing testosterone and building dense muscle and bone mass, and then you take hormones for a year to block your testosterone. That shit isn't gonna make you as soft as a fucking woman. It's just not.
It's just not, right? That was my thing. Like, bro, get over yourself.
That's the thing that now with these kids going on hormone treatments, that may be different. So if you block your hormones at fucking 9, 10 years old and you live that way for the rest of your life, then yeah. But not you live your whole life as a man and you like, oh, I want to be a woman now. Let me take estrogen.
And Mark wholeheartedly agreed, like, yo, that guy who did that shit just so he could win some shit because he was losing against the men.
That's it.
And Mark, I don't get it because Mark, he's gay, like he's flamboyant. Like me and him talked about going to a drag queen show together. Like he's into all of that shit. But at the end of the day, he's not a trans. His man is not a trans. They both identify as he, and they both know that they're men. I think he still would know, like, I'm still a man. And that's what I try to explain to Sean, like, okay, but you have to take chemicals to become a... And I just didn't want to take it too far and get myself in trouble at work.
A trans woman is still a man. I don't give a fuck what you do, yo.
And he said, honestly, if it wasn't for Sean and Emil, I probably would never even had said anything about being gay, and how they were and are is exactly why. Yeah, because Emil was the one who was always like, he was like, oh, yeah, well, I only want to work part-time because my depression is really bad. Then you don't need to work. You need to go on disability. But he was like, I hate how they are. Most gays are so pretentious and self-centered, and I can't stand them. I said, well, thank God for you and Ellen.
Oh, y'all motherfuckers confused, man.
And that's the thing. Like, Mark said, like, look, I knew I was gay. I always knew I was gay. I was in the closet for a while to please my parents because they wanted kids. I came out. I'm gay. That's what it is. I don't want to be a woman. My man doesn't want to be a woman. We like drag shows. If we want to dress up, do whatever, but we know that we're men at the end of the day. We're just men that like men. And you know what? I respect that shit. I respect that shit 100%. And then he was like, well, if you're going to keep cutting me off, I'm going to end the conversation. I said, the conversation's already been ended because you cut me off 2 times ago. 2 sentences ago. I was like, Sean, I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm like, if you're right and I'm wrong, just show me the research.
It's science, bro.
But that's what he told me, it's science.
No, your brand new pseudoscience is not going to overpower hundreds of years of what we already know. And so now that you have your gay agenda that you've tacked on to every black movement, every pro-black movement has been co-opted with some homosexual shit so you can get your message out there and get your fucking science, quote-unquote pseudoscientists to put out whatever kind of papers that aren't peer research and backed by any fucking hard body institutions at all. Even the lady in the link is a Harvard scientist who studies human chemicals. You're not going to find anyone in that position or a position similar to that that says there's more than 2 fucking sexes and that a man taking hormone blockers later in life will make him comparable to a female. You're no hardcore scientist or institution to ever say that. So now you just have these LGBTQ pseudo scientists come out here saying, well, my friend took estrogen and it made him like more. No. You were a boy in the womb. In the womb,
and that's the thing. I'm
you're
not
already
here to
creating.
argue with people. If you feel as though you're a woman, be a fucking woman. I just draw the line when it comes to sports. Or I don't want my daughter walking in the bathroom with somebody who's transitioning and, the motherfucker got their dick pulled out or some shit, or vice versa, you know what I mean? But besides that, like, I don't give a damn if trans women are in the same bathroom as me or whatever. Like, I don't give a goddamn. Just the sports shit, you're a man.
I do.
That and the uterine transplants, I draw the line there because where the fuck are you getting a uterus from?
Dead bodies.
Exactly. Don't take my uterus. Fuck that.
Alright, we gotta go to the mall.
Yeah, unless you want to go tomorrow, but I absolutely gotta find something, so I'd rather just get it done.
I need to get these pages together.
The house is mostly clean now. I already did everything. The only thing I gotta do before we leave might be one more load of laundry and then just like the regular dishes and shit. I washed your jeans too, so you'll have them for this weekend. You should get another pair of those. Those are nice. Do they have any other colors?
Yeah, where did we get them from then? That was Gabe's? Target?
Yo, Target
Oh,
got
that
nice
was Target.
clothes, and I think people be sleeping on Target because their shit is not cheap, yo. I mean, they have good deals, but like, just that one dress I bought was like $30, which at Walmart would have been like fucking $10. And some of their jeans be like $40, $50. But I like Target stuff that's like good quality. That shit hold up for a long time. Versus Walmart, that shit can hold up for like 2 years. Mark said he went to Walmart last night, and he said he had to look for a shopping cart. I said, baby, that wasn't your cue to leave.
Damn.
I said, oh, you got a lot of patience, Mark, because I don't. I'm just so glad I got a work friend that I genuinely like. We get along so well. He's like, I don't like those other gays. Like, really, Mark? Oh, I didn't show you what. What he said earlier. This motherfucker funny as shit. And just like that, a Gemini is born. I said, oh shit, that's Travis. Then I sent him the people helping their guys in the time of trouble.
Oh, okay.
And then he sent me this.
Okay.
Oh, my bad. Well, I thought you was getting up.
I'm about to. As soon as I get to a stopping point, if I can just pay attention to it.
Well, sorry, God. I'm trying to fill you in on my work job. I don't have any friends. Not here.
Oh, shit. How long have we been here? I made 2 hours yet? Yeah. Alright. Yo, the last portrait I sent off, the older lady, I sent her the damn picture of the receipt. That shit said whatever it was. And then she sent me whatever. I'm like, well, that ain't enough. What? You got the picture of the receipt right there.
Alright.
What the hell? What did you do?
You the bearer of bad news, huh?
I'm like, oh, I need the whole thing. Oh, I'll send you some more. Okay.
She sent it?
Yeah.
Probably wasn't expecting me to hit her up.
Oh, screw that. Shit, them was discounted paintings already. They ain't about to discount the art and discount the shipping. Goddamn. Alright, I feel like I can stop right there. Oh, maybe if I do this. Alright.
You know what I just thought about? That's the difference between old school gays and new gays. Mark closer to his 40s, and Sean's still in his mid-20s.
He a TikTok gay.
Well, Mark is a TikTok gay, but yeah. Wait, real quick though, because this is what Mark sent me. I said, see, he got a good sense of humor.
Oh man, I hope this painting comes out okay. Maybe I can finish it before the weekend. And then, like I say, this art thing I'm doing. I stopped by there again this afternoon to look at the space. We got there, he had a sign on the door. Be back in 10 minutes. I took a picture of it and text it to him. They show him like, I was here, bro. Oh man, I'm right down the road. I'll be in there in a minute. I'm good. I just got off work, bro. I'm about to wait on you. And so I told him, yo, I'll be by tomorrow with the artwork. But I peeked through the door and like I don't think he has enough room for my stuff. I'm gonna take the same art I plan on taking, and you can choose what you want to try to fit wherever you want to fit it, bro. Cause I said 3 to 4 pieces. He said no, 8 to 10. You got room for it. You got room for all that in that shop. Oh yeah. You can have the whole front area. I look in there. I'm like, I still don't look like enough room for. I'm not getting 10 of those in there. And like I said, some of my smaller art, I don't even really show that shit no more. tempted to keep this AC on. I had this bitch on all night though. Just so it'd be cool when I come in this afternoon. But I might just turn it on in the morning again. I don't know. But like yesterday I came here, it was too fucking hot to do any goddamn thing. I thought I was about to die in this bitch. Update and shut down. Well, I swear these damn Dell updates come twice a week. Alright, peace out.